Colin Castleton scores 29 points, but it is not enough as the Arkansas Razorbacks defeat the Florida Gators at Florida 82-74. This is Arkansas basketball recap. I'm Daniel Price. That's Jacob Price. I'm drinking bourbon because that's how sweet it was. Well, I mean, dude, I was into this game. I was into it. It was physical. It was chippy. Williams versus Castleton. Good on Must to get. Was that good on Must? Game. Good on Must to get Kamani Johnson out of there, like when he did, because I think he was probably going to get in a fist fight with somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just these end of the season games, man. I mean, it feels like every team by the end of it, you're mortal enemies with. You know, it's just that the stakes are so high. But that game, unlike the Tennessee game, which I enjoyed the Tennessee game too, but the Tennessee game was even uglier because of the defense. This game was really good defense. It was physical, and some points were still scored. Like there was just some tough baskets made. And so that actually makes it almost like the perfect game to watch because, you know, you get to see the defense and the physical play, but you also don't, it's not 29-29 with 10 minutes to go in the game. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
But it's awesome, dude. That was, well, I mean, I don't know how you experienced it, but that game was a little bit of a roller coaster. I felt like I was really proud of those guys because I felt like they rallied twice.
Yep.
And maybe three times, because there was that, you know, Florida came out hot and in every way the crowd was into it. Their guys, not just the shooting. I mean, those first 3 threes they made were ridiculous. I mean, they were well guarded, falling away, just crazy good, you know, shots. I mean, good because they made them, but nothing you could do about that. And you could tell just the bounce in their step, the way they were clapping their hands. I mean, I was worried about it. I was like, oh no, they are into this. And then,
well, they needed it. You could tell that they needed it. You know, Florida needed that game, and you could tell that Mike White knew that they needed that game, and he had told his players and drilled it in their head that they needed that game. That's a tough situation to be in, dude. You know, Arkansas is making the tournament. Florida is scraping and clawing, playing great down the end. Didn't have, I mean, you got to think if Castleton played all year, like they're in the tournament, no problem. But you know, they're playing way better down the stretch. You know, once they got him back, and they're fight. They had more. It is hard to beat a really good team who's more desperate than you are on their home floor. That is hard to do, man. And Arkansas just would not give in, and they were you're facing everything that you can possibly face in that game. That's kind of what I thought. Like, they're hitting threes. Like, they hit 7 threes in the first half. They average eight threes a game. They hit 7 in the first half. They got a stud big guy down the post. That's a real problem. They're playing great defense. They're at home. They have to win it. They just knocked off the number 2 team in the country. They're trying to make the tournament. You're like, that's a lot to just roll off a plane and walk into and just not say, all right, you know, we're going to lose one on the road. It's not going to hurt us that much. And Arkansas just, they faced all of it, man. I mean, that's as much stuff as you can have thrown at you. It
was great tournament experience type game because there was adversity. I mean, like, it's obviously Williams getting in foul trouble. Like I said, they'd get a 7-point lead, and then something would happen, and I mean, whether it be Williams went out one time or got a foul, or they'd get a play that pumped them up with an and one dunk or something, and then they'd crawl back in, and then they'd be out, and like you could feel the momentum shift, and you could feel like the reins slipping a little bit, and our guys would. I mean, part of it was Muss. He would kind of see that there was a couple of lineups from time to time that, I'm not even say the lineups were bad, but you could just tell they weren't working right now. You know what I mean? Like, this was not working at this point.
He made those changes quick too. Like, I mean, you know, I think Likes played hard, but man, when Likes was on the floor, they just said, we're going to take it. We're going to abuse that. And well, it's not his fault.
When he came in the first half, he did really well. He played really good defense, and he got a few steals. He made a 3-pointer. And then it was almost like in the second, they must have at halftime been like, if that guy goes back in here, we are making him pay. And it did get bad for him. I mean, they just were attacking him with those bigger point guards.
It wasn't for lack of effort or anything like that. It's just, you got, I mean, he gets caught on a switch. He's got Castleton coming down the lane. He tried to block him, that was one of the more ridiculous looking things I've ever seen in my life, was likes being like, I'm going to contest, I mean, good on you. But, and some people might watch that game and think that like Castleton, Castleton really, got the better of Jalen. He did have 29 points. I mean, that was a battle, but I would also say, dude, first of all, when you didn't have Jalen, it was not good. Mm-hmm. And also, Castleton had 6 rebounds. Jalen had 10. And Jalen kept him off the glass really well.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff that he was like, dude, some of the stuff was there you can't do a lot about. And I think Jalen did as good a job as you can ask him to do. And I think it was try to contain him as much as you can and keep him off the glass. And I felt like Jalen did a pretty good job of keeping him off the glass.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't Jalen's best defensive performance, and most of that was because of his foul trouble.
Jalen had a couple of sick charge calls though, dude. Like where he had 2 in particular. Like one, he like let Castle. He could tell Castle just wanted it worse than life, and just baited him into doing it, and it was beautiful. And then another time, dude, where he drew a charge that. Where you're like on the floor, you have to pop up and like draw that charge. And it's just great. And then there was another charge. He draws so many charges, it's ridiculous. Another charge that I could have drawn, where like you could tell the guy that did it was like, man, I forgot for a second, like because he was like saying my bad. Like he got the ball on a loose ball out of like the corner 3-point line and started driving towards the basket. And man, Jalen was sitting there forever, like just waiting for him at the rim.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to hear what Muss has to say, maybe if somebody will ask him the question, because it seemed to me that, not that they wanted Castleton to get 29, obviously, and I think, like I said, I don't think he would have had 29 if Jalen hadn't been in such foul trouble, and that's not like for those people, for anybody that didn't watch the game.
The first beginning of the game, you saw them double and triple down to the post, and they got some threes off of it. Even though the runouts were good, they were still contested, but like that's how they got those. The second half, they just didn't do that much. They took away the 3 ball. They said we're not going to. Well,
that's what it looked like. So that's what I'm saying. I'm wondering if they were just like, if he's going to beat us making tough hook shots or whatever, we're going to do that. We're going to live by that. I don't know that they said that, but and like I said, I don't think Castleton had a good night. But I think if Jalen, for people that didn't watch the game, he didn't like get in foul trouble completely because Castleton was, being so physical down low. He picked up 2 pretty dumb fouls and one with 10 seconds to go in the first half, which was pretty ridiculous. I mean, it's all in context. With 10 seconds left, just play straight out.
His 4th foul, I don't think that's a foul.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't even know what you want. Like he just stood there and the Castleton made his move. I don't even know if he made contact. That he was fading. I didn't see the contact. I don't know what that was. So I'm not going to say that was a stupid one because I don't know what else you want him to do other than just stand there with his arms up. Mm-hmm. The one at the second one was bad because he slapped down at the ball, which is just something you don't at that point in the game you don't want to do.
With 10 seconds in the half.
Yeah.
In fact, I would say if you're on defense with 10 seconds left in the half, I might pull Note and Williams, as valuable as they are, just because it's just a tragedy to and wear that second foul with 10 seconds left.
It's because you have these guys are hoopers, man, and I know there's 10 seconds left in the game, but they're gonna try to get that ball. Mm-hmm. And there's he has instilled defense in this team, and you might have to sort of coach against your own philosophy that you've instilled and be like, I know these dudes ain't going to let up with 10 seconds left. They ain't going to do it. So I might have to pull them off the floor to protect them from a thing that's really good, which is I'm going for the ball all the time. I don't give up anything easy. I'm trying to get the rock away from you at all times. Yeah. So I agree. Like you might in that situation be like, you know what? I'm not even going to have you on the floor because I don't want to tell you not to play aggressive or whatever. I'd rather just say, hey, we'll take you out and not let you get fouled. Let someone else go get that foul. But I will say this though, man, like props to Muss and props to Jalen because Jalen picked up that fourth foul, and we needed him in the game. Those last 8-10 minutes, and he got that. I think he got his fourth foul with 8 minutes left,
and
Muss left him in, and I think that was the right decision. And props to Jalen for not picking up that fifth foul because we did need him in the game.
Because and he had a couple opportunities, even for him to commit. He had twice where he avoided offensive fouls.
Yeah,
and scored on both of those plays, like where he, a less intelligent or even just finesse equipped player would have not only not scored but picked up that foul by bowling into that guy because he very quickly stopped and gently rolled into those guys.
Yeah, he really played smart down the stretch, and it's a good thing too because we really needed him, not because we needed him to score. Like that's nice that he scored and stuff. It just much like down the stretch of a game, I just you have to have Williams and Note on the floor. Things just don't work the way that they're supposed to without them. It's tough to win games if they're not at the floor at the end because the offense becomes clunky, and then also even though Castleton had a good night, there was nobody that was going to guard Castleton better than Jalen Williams was going to guard Castleton. He was making it. By the way, man, Castleton I didn't know I didn't know that I hated him, but to be could you be weaker, dude? Like you freaking soft, man, just whining and stuff. Like what a you never see. You don't see give me Jalen Williams all day over that dude whining and being a sissy the whole I never see Jalen doing that stuff. Well,
that's why I was frustrated watching that game is because Castleton, and this is going to sound like insulting him, but he's not as good as he played tonight. And I mean, he's a good player. He played great against
Auburn.
He had a big game, but when a guy's that slender, I know he's big, he's tall, but he's not that effective when you make him catch the ball 12 and 15 feet from the basket. His moves like any big man. You've got the one dribble and then the turn, pivot, up and under, hook shot. You've got the one or two dribbles.
He's definitely skilled. He's definitely skilled in the post.
But if you make him try to dribble drive where you have to try to turn the corner and this is what I would like to know from Musselman is what I was saying before is Jalen didn't guard him as good as Jalen's capable of because of his foul trouble in the second half, but Jalen guarded him better than it even looks like he did because Jalen, and I don't know if this was a talked about thing from the coaching strategy, but he just would not play on him. He was still doing what he does, which is watch the ball.
They didn't want dribble penetration. You could tell that they were not going to let those guard. They weren't going to let Appleby get downhill. They were going to have Jalen play zone / get on Castleton when he's in the paint, but they were not going to have Jalen pulled out of the paint. They were not going to. But
even when Castleton was in the paint, Jalen was never dedicated to him. He had one arm on him and he was watching where the drive was coming from. So every time that the ball did get to Castleton was getting really deep position. And I don't care who you are. If you're 7 foot tall and got a freaking 8 foot long arm, you catch the ball with your head under the hoop. There's no way to defend that without fouling, really, or just do what Jalen was doing, which is playing a lot of straight up ball. And he was able to put in a lot of little flip shots, a lot of hook shots, a lot of little turnaround layups. And it's because he was catching it so deep. You know what I mean? And
it seems like Musselman was willing to do that. That's what it seemed like. It seemed like he was like, you know what, you have to beat us with that guy, but we're not going to let we're not doing this thing with the rest of the guys.
Yeah, because I really feel like if that was all, if that was the main focus of Florida whole team, if he was like the centerpiece and Jalen was focused on him, like we're not letting him score, Jalen could keep that guy from getting position.
Yeah.
Like he could push him out and make him catch the ball 10 feet from the hook rather than just, I mean, like I said, he was just roaming around back there doing whatever he wanted. And it was because Jalen was watching the drivers. So anyway, all that to say, Jalen didn't play the greatest defense he could have, but he was also basically playing turn around and get in front of him, catch up defense the whole time. And that's tough when a guy's that big. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and you saw, and when we didn't have Jalen in, it was not good.
Yeah.
Like, so that was so getting it. By the way, if that was the strategy, and I assume it was, that they were like, especially the second half, where they just said, we're not going to double him anymore. We're not giving up outside looks. Can't complain about it, and I'm not complaining about it. I actually don't mind a strategy of saying your best player can score like a ton, but he's gonna have to beat us by himself. I don't mind that strategy at times at all. But it does seem that it worked, because you can't complain about it, because you win the game, so you're like, hey, that worked. I mean, I don't want them raining threes down. I mean, me and you have the same philosophy as this, which is like threes are worth more than twos. I don't want to give them up, and so we're not going to give them up. And so we're going to extend the defense. We're going to be up in your guards, up in their jerseys. We're just not going to give those up. And I'm okay with that. The getting into something else, I don't know. You have to remind me, maybe I'm wrong here, but I'm going to give player of the game. I don't know if this guy has received player of the game award this season.
Oh, can I guess?
Yeah, go ahead.
Devo
was great tonight. I mean, I didn't love your technical, but whatever, dude. Like,
and so now the technical's idiotic, because, dude, you don't need to punctuate a basic like frame by frame duplication of your Auburn dunk, with the exception of the bounce off the floor, but like a sick dunk where you dunk it and swing, and then all you got to do is drop and go ahead and hold that hand up as you run down court. But like slapping the backboard doesn't do you any good.
That aside, he was hyped up. I get it. I mean, that was an intense game. Devo played great. I mean, I don't even know how he could have played better. He in every way he played great. He was great defensively. He shot. Let me pull up Devo's stats here.
He took 2 bad shots.
Well, those are the only 2 he missed. So he was 7 of 10.
Was he really? Okay. So
7 of 10, 2 of 3 from the 3-point line. So he missed those 2 bad ones, and then 1 3 he missed. So he was 7 of 10.
The three was one of them. I was saying, I think he missed a layup, which was not a bad shot. I mean, it was like a contested when he drove in, and he just didn't make it. But he's been shooting so good off the pass. But one time he got a little excited and he just was dribbling around, and then just like did a note, which is like dribbled out and like did a step back, and it's like, that's not what you've been making. You've been making set ones. Now he does have that turnaround 15-footer, but not turnaround 30-footer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he took that one, and then he did another one in the baseline where it was just that it was early in the shot clock. Nobody else had touched the ball. He just like dribbled to the corner and shot like a crazy 1-footed 17-footer from the very side. And I was like, what was that shot?
Yeah. Still, so 7 of 10, I'll take it. You shoot 70%. I'm not going to complain about 3 missed.
Dude, and again, they were vital. Those threes came at a pivotal point where like they were starting to, I think one of them, they'd just taken the lead for the first time, and or for the first time since we'd gotten the lead, and he came down and hit a 3 to get us back up. I mean, he's been clutch these last few games.
Yeah, so Devo, 7 of 10, 19 points. Also with 3 or 4 from the free throw line. 6 rebounds, led the team in assists with 4 assists, and man, he passed the ball really well.
Yep.
He looked great. I mean, it's hard to imagine him playing. You're like, dude, if you can give me some of that, and I know he's not gonna do that every night, but and by the way, Devo's been playing better. I would actually say the Devo that we've seen the last few weeks or the last few games is the Devo I kind of expected to see. So, I mean, so I'm happy about that, and good for him. I think he's, I mean, he's really being a good. I like seeing him at the scorer's table checking in. I like it. Like, you know what I mean? Like when he's coming into the game, you feel like that's good. That's a good thing.
Oh yeah, I was wanting him to get in there when there was a moment where we had our starting lineup that we were doing now, and now it's shifted a little bit, but it was the Tony, Amude, Wade, Note, and Williams.
That was the starting lineup tonight.
Yeah, and they were in there at one point, and it just Wade wasn't having a good night tonight, and he was catching the ball. Like there was a period there where I was just like, man, we need to get Devo in here because we need somebody else who can dribble drive and stuff, because when that team's on the floor, again, we talked about this before, but it's great defensively, really long, good at rebounding. Only Note can drive the ball. That's it. Nope. Everybody else is just standing still, passing and cutting. But and sometimes it's helpful to get Devo or Likes in there, so you at least have two guys that can catch and dribble. You know what I mean? Because you can only do so much when you catch, head fake, pass, basically. Or turn around and back in.
Yeah. So I assume you agree. Would Devo be your player of the game?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like you could give it to Note every game but it's like giving it to the basketball. It's like you can't play without Note and you won't win without Note. But like he now he's almost to the place where he needs to have an exceptional game to be the guy. You know what I mean? Like if he just has a regular game, which is just doing what he does, drawing all the defense. But yeah, I mean, definitely the outlier tonight was Devo, for sure.
Note's game was, Note was 7 of 18. Devo was 7 of 10. So you're like, okay. But Note played good. Note, he hit some big shots down the stretch. In the second half of the second half, he was huge. He finishes 22 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. It's great. Note doing Note, and it's great. Devo, I felt like he did it. Devo did it the whole game, where you're like, oh, we need it, and like Devo got it for you. So it was
a lot of loose balls. He got his hand on a lot of loose balls. I don't know. I don't know how you keep that stat, but I feel like I don't know if anyone keeps that stat, but I feel like if there was a stat for balls that were loose and then who got them, we must have killed them. It felt like we got every loose ball.
By the way, going in the stats, so rebounding battle, Florida had 31 rebounds. Arkansas finishes with 39, so Arkansas wins the rebounding battle. And in a game where neither team turned the ball over a lot, Florida finishes with 9 turnovers, which you would think that's good. Well, like any team will take that. Arkansas finishes with 6. Turned the ball over 6 times. That's, dude, you can't ask for any more than that.
Like I said, that doesn't surprise me because like the way the game felt, it just felt like a well-played basketball game. You know what I mean? Like nobody was making too many mistakes.
No, not a lot of turnovers. Defense was good though, like you were saying. It was a higher scoring game because both offenses played a little bit better. In the Tennessee game, that was a rock fight. This game was still extremely physical, for sure. But the offenses played well, and the teams did not turn the ball over a lot. And it wasn't because the defense wasn't good. It's just that you had two teams. One team that was desperate to win has been playing well, needing to win, and they played well against a team who has won, by the way, 12 out of their last 13 games is what Arkansas has done.
Well, and I have to say, for me personally, one thing I was noticing is it made me appreciate the Hogs fans. And I know we're not in the same place right now. So our fans are more pumped than their fans are, but their fans needed them tonight because like obviously this was like a potential season change. Like they have no room for error. They probably aren't going to make the tournament, and unless they just go on crazy in the SEC tournament. But their fans, the ones that were there, obviously were great and they tried. But dude, that was not a full house. I know it's a weeknight, but dude, you got to show out for those guys. It didn't feel anything like the last couple of Arkansas games. They didn't do like a blue out or a white out. The student section wasn't. I mean, whenever it flashed like a wide shot, there's lots of empty seats down low. You know what I mean? Down like where the good seats are, and
that wouldn't happen. That would not happen even on a Tuesday night against Florida at Bud Walton. It would not happen.
Well, I mean, unless we were like, had no chance and we were just buried and we were terrible and we only won 2 games all year or something like that. But on a game where it's like pivotal and like you need to win this coming off of a great win, that was disappointing if you're a Florida fan. Like, I mean, I felt like it actually did hurt them. Like there was several moments where if Jalen Williams had gotten his 4th foul and then they did that little surge and we were struggling and they had the lead, like every fan should have been on their feet and it should have been deafening. And they got a little bit of hype, but it was never enough to crush us with their momentum or anything. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I kind of blame those Florida fans. Like those guys got to show out a little bit better.
No doubt. And, it does. I mean, you hear it all the time and you wonder if there's some bias, but you hear it from national people too, that is Bud Walton the best environment in college basketball? And I think that people are hesitant to say what is the best because like a sort of a packed house freaking out is a packed house freaking out. But I do believe that, I don't know if it's the best, but there's not one better. So like maybe there's some that are as good. But
I think
but if you've been in Bud Walton when it's going bananas, like the Tennessee game, the Auburn game, what by the way is going to happen during the Kentucky game, it can't be better. Like it's 100%, and like maybe there's other arenas that get there and they're there from time to time, but when Bud Walton is rocking, it can't be any better. Like it's as good as it's as good of an atmosphere as there can be.
Yeah, the only thing that I would say can rival it is actually just a product of like history and circumstance. When Carolina is really good, North Carolina and Duke are really good, like when they're both in the top 10 and they play each other, both of those, and it's because those schools are in close proximity to one another, which creates just the geography of that creates a rivalry amongst the communities. And there's just no way you can duplicate that in a lot of ways. I mean, the history of both of those programs, when they come together, sometimes that's
not this year.
Not this year, but I've seen it in the past where those fans sound like when they come into the broadcast, they sound like they're celebrating a victory. Like it sounds like the Auburn victory or something like that. And it's like that all game long. And like I said, I think it's mostly just, there's no way to duplicate the history and the competitive, the rivalry of that. And Arkansas doesn't really have that kind of a rival right now. But despite that, they show up like everybody's their rival. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, Kentucky is going to be insane.
Arkansas is a team that because Arkansas is a state, I think the two that feels like sort of permanently disrespected. Like Arkansas, Arkansas does have this like Arkansas against everyone mentality, right? Where Duke can't have that, and North Carolina can't have that. But Arkansas is this team that has a great basketball tradition, which most people will acknowledge. But maybe it was like it's faded. It was in the past, and Arkansas just always feels like, because we don't, because we're Arkansas, and you always feel like it's us against everybody, and so they show up for they hate Arkansas hates everyone. We hate Texas and Oklahoma and Kentucky and Tennessee and Auburn. I hate everyone, and that's kind of one of the, I guess it'd be kind of fun to have like just some crazy rival, but it's also fun to just be like, nah, it's just Arkansas against the world, and I hate everybody. That's not Arkansas in the conference, and I want to beat all of them.
Yeah, I mean, and it makes sense. I mean, Florida has like 15 professional teams and a couple of good college teams, so it's different. I mean, I like a team like Kentucky, they're the same state-wise as Arkansas, which is like podunk state. No professional teams, nothing but that. But they have that. Their college team is already vindicated and certified as a blue blood. You know what I mean?
Well, it's constant media love pouring all over it. It's 25 straight years of top 5 recruiting class. I mean, like, it's not the same thing. You can't have the chip on your shoulder of like, we're disrespected and it's not, you can't. You're Kentucky. I mean, every year, Kentucky cannot make the tournament and be ranked in the top 10 the next season. Like, I mean, it's insane. And all of that feeds into a team. When Kentucky comes into Arkansas fans hate them. And, when Arkansas goes into Kentucky, it's not the same thing. I understand that they don't feel the same way, but it's because of that where you feel like, and I mean, I still haven't forgiven, Malik Monk. I don't forgive him. I don't forgive Appleby. I don't forgive, Allen. I don't forgive any of those dudes who like went to Florida or went to Kentucky. I don't like, that's unforgivable stuff. Like, so, if Malik, I'm glad Malik Monk's having a good year because he's from the same town that we live in, but or played high school ball in Bentonville. But if you can't come here and open a car dealership and expect me to buy a car from you because you went to Kentucky and you should have went to Arkansas because what the heck, dude? And so there's all of that kind of stuff. Like Arkansas, like feels that all feeds into it. Like if you have like, a top 5 recruit in the country, Kentucky never worries if like their guy in their backyard is going to go to Arkansas, but we have to like worry about that stuff. By the way, thank you, Nick Smith Jr. for not doing that. And thank you, Moses Moody and all those guys for not doing that. And I really appreciate it. But so you that all feeds into it. And that's why I think that Saturday is going to be, I hope it's a great game. I hope it's not the kind of game where you get jumped out on, the crowd can get sucked out of it a little bit. Like hopefully Arkansas can hang tough early and give the crowd an opportunity to influence the game.
I expect them to.
Yeah.
Like I said, if our winning was predicated on shooting threes or something that can be streaky, I'd be like, I don't know, dude, could go anyway. But I'm not saying we're going to win, but I'd be surprised if it wasn't like this game. If it wasn't, I'll be surprised if you're not sitting on the edge of your seat with 5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
I mean, that may mean we're down by 6 or 7, but you'll still be sitting there with your nose pressed against the TV because we'll have a chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hope that's the case. I mean, we just haven't gotten beat down except for one game where Note didn't play.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the only game we got. I mean, Oklahoma ended up putting it on us in the end a little bit.
Dude, that's not even the same team, dude. I'm telling you, that's not the same team.
I know. But, and like I said, that was still a game for, it was a 10-point game for most of the game, but really only loss where it was just like, oh man, what's going on is the Mississippi State loss. But
yeah,
anyway,
I agree. But yeah, dude, right, I loved it. Huge win. Loved it. By the way, early in the game, if I had one thing that I was like, what's going on? I thought they were missing Jalen Williams on a lot of pick and rolls or a lot of dribble drive handoffs where he would roll. I thought there was a lot of times where he would sort of roll to the basket and they'd miss him, or they'd move the ball around. He'd be like wide open in the high post, even waving his arms around and stuff. Like, find my guy. All right. Like, get the ball in there.
Yeah, I agree.
Did you see some of that? That wasn't just me like noticing like, hey, why don't you hit him with that pass right there? Even if he doesn't do anything with it, just to make the defense move.
Yeah, I think so. I think that a couple of times they saw a guy that was creeping a little bit, but they still could have got the pass in there. You know what I mean? But they just thought better of it. But dude, I mean, this is so much fun. The thing that's making me realize is I'm not going to be, dude, I'm getting be stressed out during the tournament. Because the tournament, everyone can lose. It doesn't mean, and the thing about this Arkansas team is they're not so good that you're like, well, we're winning the first game, or we're definitely going to the second round. It's like, you just never know with the tournament, and this team is just as capable. I mean, they're capable of beating anyone, but they're also capable of losing to a lot of people. And
hey, we had a game where we did not hit a single 3-pointer. We had that game happened this season. The one thing you feel good about is you can play defense anywhere, and that's you can play hard anywhere. And I agree with Musselman. Win or lose, we're not going to get beat because the other team played harder than we did. That's not going to happen.
But dude, I mean, like, I can't remember. I feel like they were winning, but they probably weren't. I was probably just being pessimistic, but they hit a 3, I think, with 1 minute and 30 seconds left that either tied the game or put them up by 1, or perhaps we were up by 1 and I was just being very negative. But I just remember they hit that and I was like, good bless them. Like, we're gonna lose, and I was just, my heart was getting already breaking. And when it's end of the season, when that game comes around, I've been having so much fun watching these games.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's got to lose. Everyone loses the last game unless you win the whole thing. And I still have not convinced that this team's going to win the whole thing. Obviously,
right.
I mean, they could, but that would be insane. But dude, that's going to suck when they lose.
It does. I didn't experience on that same level, but my daughter's 9th grade basketball team went on an 18 game winning streak. They started the season 3-3, went on an 18 game winning streak, mowed through all kinds of teams, got to district tournament, mowed through teams, got to the district championship, and ended up losing. And it's a crappy feeling because, like you said, you said exactly what I told my daughter. Like only one team ends the season with a win. Everyone else has to head on a loss.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, there's no easy way to lose, because if you lose early, you're demoralized and it sucks because you're out of the first game or something. But once you win, I guess the easiest emotional time is to lose in the second round to a team that's way higher seeded than you, because it's like, all right, well, we won one, that was good. Now we're playing
that's not what's going to happen though. Arkansas is going to at least be playing if they're not in the second, if they win the first round game, the way the Arkansas is right now, they're either going to be playing someone lower than them or someone very similar seeded to them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And so then by the time you make it to the second weekend, now it's all heartbreak, dude, because you've got a sniff of it. You've tasted it. You're in that, final group. The Sweet 16. And now all you want to do is make the Elite 8. And then, it just doesn't get easier. Once you make the Elite 8, now it's like, now you can really smell it. And so there's just no easy way to lose in the tournament. It's all a bummer.
Yeah. Yep.
So
I'm excited for it though. I'm here for it, man. I'm on that. I'm
no injuries, please.
I'm on that must bus. I'll tell you that much, man. The only thing that would hurt me worse than the Arkansas loss that is probably coming at some point. If we lose to Kentucky, I won't be heartbroken over. The tournament loss is the one that's when the season is over for you, is when your heart breaks. The only thing that would hurt me more than that is if for some reason
Musselman goes to the Lakers.
I don't know, man. I can't have any of that, dude. You get that. I don't know what you got to do, but I know we just gave him a contract extension and all that. I think we've done what we need to do, but I think he likes being here. But man, I am a Musselman fan, and I would be devastated if he was not around. So protect that man at all costs. Hunter, you're a check, and let's keep it going.
All right, man.
All right,
let's do it.
We'll see you on Saturday.
Excited for it.
Yep.